Chapter 4, launching your coaching offer. I want to talk to you about some of the ways that I have launched my offers that go against, I would say, common practice for most coaches. And then Jenny's going to give you more of a strategic piece that is, I would say, more common. So I'm very much the kind of person that I will do things based off of my intuition, not what somebody is telling me to do because it worked for them. So I want to give you an example of how I launched one of my very first year-long program. At the time it was called the Abundant Woman Project. And if you've picked up this book and you've read it, then you've heard the story, but hearing it live is going to be really cool for you too. So the Abundant Woman Project was something that came to me. I knew I wanted to do a year-long program. I had never done one before. And outside of knowing that I wanted it to be a year, I wasn't getting any details. And so I found myself every time I sat down to create a post and share this offer with my audience, I was feeling really restricted and I was really struggling to write something because I didn't know how to quote unquote convince people as to why they should come into this offer. And so that's when it occurred to me that I wanted to release the Abundant Woman Project and I didn't want to have to give details. I wanted for the woman who was ready to just trust her intuition and felt the call to come into this to come in. And so what I decided to do was I knew this was going to be a $10,000 offer. That was like the early bird pricing. So it was going to be $10,000. It was going to be a year long. And I knew that we would have a minimum of 2 live Zoom calls per month. Outside of that, I didn't know what the topics were gonna be. I didn't know if we were gonna have additional calls. Like, I didn't know any of the other deliverables. I just knew that it was a year long, 10K, minimum 2 calls per month, and I knew that whoever came into this was going to step into transformation. So, that was the truth of what I knew. So I decided to release the Abundant Woman project without a landing page, without a website, and without details outside of those three things that I knew: price, the time frame, and the minimum 2 calls per month. And so when I released that, I by the way, like I had a lot of people tell me that's never going to work. No one's paying you $10,000 for like a year-long program that they don't actually know what it is. And it's possible for you that you're gonna have this intuitive hit to launch your business, to launch a program, to launch an offer a certain way that maybe you haven't even seen it done that way yet, and you might have people that advise you against it, and I am always on the side of listen to your intuition. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna have the outcome that your mind expects, but I can tell you that my intuition has never let me down. Even if it steered me in a different direction, it's never let me down. So I released the Abundant Woman Project, and I was super transparent. I don't know X, Y, and Z, but here's what I do know. And I told them everything that I did know. And I ended up having a six-figure launch for the Abundant Woman project before I ever released a landing page, before I had any further details outside of those first few details that I did give. And that really highlighted for me that you can launch your business any way. So the fact that I had a six-figure launch and that ended up generating $160,000 in my business. I also had somebody come into that program on the early bird. She came in during the early bird timeframe, but she actually wanted to pay what the full price was going to be because she liked it more. So she ended up paying, she came into a payment plan. I think at the time the early bird payment plan, maybe it was like 900 a month. I can't remember for however many months, but she wanted to pay 1,111 a month instead. So she literally paid more every single month just because she liked the number better. And I've had that happen several times. I also had somebody pay me over $22,000 above the program offer because she liked that number better. So it's like you're either creating your business from a standpoint of what's realistic for other people, or you're going to be unreasonable and you're going to trust your intuition. And I'm always on the side of I'm going to listen to my intuition, and people love to pay me. So that's the energy that I put out. The other thing I want to share is there have been a lot of times where I'm the type of person that when I have a desire to do something, I don't want to wait. And so I was going for a walk one day and I had this thought. I wanted to do this master class, but I didn't want to tell anybody what it was going to be. And the thing is, I wanted to run it within 2 days. So I think it was like the weekend, maybe it was a Sunday. And what I decided to do, I didn't want to have to create a whole like graphic. I didn't want to create a landing, like I didn't want to do any of that. I just wanted to create an invitation and get people in. And so I had this thought of like, I don't even know that I would get enough people in 2 days. And I was like, fuck that. I'm not going there. If this is what I want to do, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to trust myself. I ended up having over 100 people come into that in a matter of 24 hours, not having any details of what the masterclass was about. So I wanted to bring the side of launching your offers and launching your business from the conversation of trusting your intuition, especially when it's guiding you to do things that either you haven't seen other people do them before, maybe you've seen very few, or you have this excitement in your body to do it, but then you start to question, is it going to work? Who do I think I am to do this? Like those are going to be some of the mindset shifts that you're going to have to overcome. So, I do things very different, very outside of the box, but it works for me. And I wanted to share that with you because I also want you to understand that because your business is an extension of you and it's an extension of who you're being, it's really important that you're honoring the kind of energy that works for you to move in. And for some of you, that is going to be more like needing structure and needing things to be planned out. That's where this woman comes in.
Hmm. Okay, just hand me a checklist. Love me a good
She
checklist.
loves her checklists.
And so this is it. And this is one of the reasons that Kyra and I love teaching together is because we do come from two different sides. And for a lot of ways we come and we also have, similar ways of doing things down the middle. But we get to show you different ways of being able to build your business that work. And so if you are someone who very much follows that intuitive flow, when things drop in, you move, you execute, that is the magnetism that sells. Now, for some of you, you might be sitting there thinking like, but I don't get those hits. I don't have that message channel in. I don't have that very clear, here's what you got to do. So what do I do then? This is where this chapter is very much going to help you because it is going to give you a step by step. When I launched my very first group coaching program, Sales with Soul Academy, I hired a coach who was a step by step, practical, logical. Here's the system, here's the blueprint, and I had a $50,000 launch. And so I was really excited about this. I was on maternity leave, so I did this like side by side with a newborn baby, and I was like, let's do this. And I was so excited because I knew exactly what to do. I had a script. I knew how to have the DM conversations. I had the script saved in my phone. It was so easy. It was brainless. I didn't even have to think about it. So even with a postpartum mind, I was able to have that 50K launch because I knew exactly what to do. And so this chapter is going to give you step by step. And we even went ahead and we made you a Google Sheet, okay? Because again, gotta love some drop down Google Sheet systems here. So there's a Google Sheet inside of this chapter. You just go ahead and scan the QR code. And basically, I've just gone ahead and laid out the exact program over a 6 to 8 week period, what you need to do at what point. You can do the drop down menu as I'm on it, I'm done. And it just keeps track of the whole system and process for you. So if you're looking for that step by step, we got your back. It is in this chapter. If you're just like, don't need to tell me what to do, I'm going to follow my intuitive guidance, you've got proof that that also works. So go ahead, dive in if this chapter is for you, which is why we wrote it as optional, or just follow your heart and go with the guidance that has been channeled in through that mastermind. So let's go ahead and dive in if this is the chapter for you.